Today, we turn to the nation's worsening security situation as another wave of kidnappings has shaken communities in the north. The past week has seen multiple mass abductions, raising urgent questions about safety, governance, and the state's ability to protect its most vulnerable citizens. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I am Precious Amayo, and this is Standpoint. Now, Nigeria is reeling after two major school kidnappings in just 1 week. In Kebbi State, gunmen stormed Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School in Maga, abducting 25 female students and killing a staff member during the attack. Now, barely days later, another mass abduction unfolded, this time in Niger State, where over 300 children and a dozen teachers were taken from St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri during an early morning raid. Kwara State also witnessed an incident of kidnapping as the church was stormed during service. The incidents have triggered renewed fears across the north, with some states temporarily shutting down schools and increasing security around learning centers. Lawmakers are calling for urgent action, including proposals to classify kidnappers as terrorists, as communities demand stronger protection and a more coordinated national response. Nigeria recorded thousands of abductions in the past year alone, making kidnapping not just a crime, but a growing national emergency. Now let's expand this further as we bring in political affairs and public affairs analyst Dave Ogbole. He joins me virtually from the nation's capital, Abuja. Good to have you join us, Dave.
Thank you very much, Precious.
So we thought as a country that we have moved from the era of mass abductions. We've seen school abductions before, whether it's the Chibok, the Dapchi, there was one in Jangibi. But it looks like, we're back to it. I just want to get your reading of this very sad, very sad development.
Basically, there are 5 elements that threaten national security: war, insurrection, terrorism, natural disasters, and espionage. And out of these 5 elements, 4 of them are in play as far as the Nigerian state is concerned, except for war. It looks as if the Nigerian state is a multiple theater of conflicts. But like you rightly observe, no week has validated this particular issue like the last week we just crossed with the abductions and killings. Besides the matter of Kebbi, Niger, and Kwara State, there was also, killing and abduction of people in Nasarawa State. And it appears as if the sponsors and the perpetrators of terrorism in Nigeria are in a race against an invisible deadline, to be able to validate that designation that America placed on Nigeria as a country of particular concern. They are gravitating from particular concern to special concern here in Nigeria, and it's very, very appalling. Our security outfits are stretched to their limit. Their morals are beginning to wane, all because it looks as if the fight against insecurity in Nigeria is a mirage as far as the victory is concerned, and that is very, very demoralizing. And for Africa's largest economy to fall into the hands of terrorpreneurs, people who have made enterprise out of terror, is something that is very, very concerning, is very, very alarming, and is very, very appalling. That is my observation as far as these issues are concerned.
So my understanding is that the Nasarawa's alleged kidnapping was debunked by the school, that such attack never happened. I just wanted to be clear on on that one. But Dave, what do you think the gaps are? Because you have said that even the security personnel are also stretched thin themselves and demoralized. When a lot of people analyze this issue, they analyze it from a security standpoint, that is the security personnel who are not doing enough. But you have said they are even stretched thin. So where are the gaps?
The gap, basically the major gap, is not in the bravery of our gallant men to tackle security issues. Nigerian soldiers and Nigerian security forces, they have excelled in international combat operations In fact, there was a time they were ranked the second best ground forces in terms of their efficiency and bravery. But how come back at home they cannot tackle this menace of insecurity, either Boko Haram or bandits or whatever the name they are called or designated? It borders heavily on the matter of sabotage, internal sabotage. For a nation where traitors and terrorists are given a second chance and even recruited into our army, will fear strongly for the matter of sabotage. For instance, in the Kebbi situation, the governor confirmed that the intel was given and then they had mobilized, but 25 minutes to the time of the attack, security forces that were placed around to reinforce, protection for those children in the school left the scene. So who informed them that those bandits and terrorists were coming to kidnap, that they left the school? So you see, this matter of internal sabotage is a matter that has to be tackled if at all we'll see an end to the security, to the insecurity in Nigeria. So sabotage ranks very, very high. So no matter how much we equip our army, no matter how much we give all of the intels and sophisticated trainings to them, if the element of internal sabotage is not taken care of, we will continue to see the matter of our troops being ambushed, generals being killed, like it happened, in the last week. It was rumored around that General M. Uba, a brigadier general, was killed at the battlefront alongside some of his men because they ran into ambushes. So ambushes are regular occurrences, all because there is somebody on the inside who profits from the insecurity of Nigeria that tips or gives those information to these terrorists as far as troop movement and activities are concerned. So sabotage is top on the list of what must be tackled before we can be able to close in the gap and bring insecurity to a halt in Nigeria.
And interesting, you mentioned the comments of the governor. A lot of people have said, look, that should not be swept under the carpet, that it's not something he should just mention and leave there. That it should now move to being investigated, and if, like you mentioned, sabotage is found to have a call, that it should be decisively dealt with. I want to get your reaction to that. How you think that comment coming from the governor should be handled?
He's not the first of governors to make such comment that cast an aspersion on the integrity of our security. Before 200 people were massacred and burnt in Yelewata, Benue State, the governor confirmed on national TV that he got the intel 1 month ahead, and then he notified all of the security agencies. But what is the cause of the delay in terms of troop deployment to prevent matters? Because insecurity, particularly terrorism, is better nipped in the bud. It is not when it happens, it boomerangs, that our soldiers begin to parade heavy guns and artillery around. No. They are better nipped in the bud. So he is not the first to have raised that alarm. The Benue State governor did raise that alarm. Katsina State governor did raise that alarm before the Kebbi State governor. So it's a multiple matter of alarms being raised, and there is no timely troop deployment. So we used to talk about early warning signals and communication to security agencies. That has been tackled largely because they get the intels ahead of time and then they notify the security agencies. So if they have to investigate this particular one, then every other alarm signals raised before terrorism struck has to be investigated too. So it becomes a recurring pattern that needs to be investigated as to why intels are given ahead of time, yet they strike because there is no troop deployment.
Because as you speak, it just sort of occurred to me that every time we talk about security, one of the things that we also mention is intelligence failure and how we handle and manage intelligence, in the country. But you think that, look, it is not generally that our troops cannot manage intelligence, but that perhaps it is an issue of sabotage. But I also wanted to also just take this conversation to the strategy that we've had so far. I mean, does it look like we have managed to put together a national plan in terms of how we respond to terrorism or kidnappings in the country, or are we just, reacting basically to whatever it's happening and whenever it happens?
You see, a national plan, as far as our philosophy and response towards terrorism is in place. But the matter is that People cannot live in building plans. Plans must gravitate or must graduate to an architecture, a security architecture that is inclusive. What I mean, a security architecture that is inclusive is that Nigerians need security education to be able to spot, because these terrorists, these activities, they happen usually at the hinterlands, and troop movement or terrorist movement is something that the people at the hinterlands know, they see, they report. So if there is proper coordination between the citizens and security agencies, and then, like we say, quick deployment of troops. So a plan is on ground, but a plan is as useless as, if the architecture to activate those plans are not in place. For instance, the earlier complaints about why these terrorist activities succeed is that a lot of our hinterlands have rugged terrains. If you look at the Plateau area, the Benue area, the Niger area, the Kwara area, the hinterlands are very rugged terrains that responses in terms of security vehicles are not able to move. So we began to suggest that let the Nigerian army or our security team be equipped with bikes that can navigate this rugged terrain so that response timing is closed in, and then response can be quicker to meet security issues in the board. That has largely been provided as part of the security plan for Nigeria. We don't lack security plan at all. It is this matter of sabotage at the point of execution that those are the things that actually, constitute a threat. Today, they say that, okay, a lot of the soldiers recruited are nowhere to be found. Why? The moment they enter into the system and they see all of this sabotage that feeds our young troop to the mouth of this monster of terrorism, a lot of them are demoralized. They begin to absent without official leave. So it's a thing of concern. They are talking about recruiting young people now. Well, why? How will young people be enthusiastic to join the Nigerian army when they see what is happening to their fellow young people that are entering into the army? We have a security plan, we have a response plan in place, but nobody lives in the building plan. It has to graduate into an effective security architecture that can be able to protect people both at the urban and also at the rural areas.
And I was reading through a statement made by the PDP presidential candidate declare a state of emergency. Do you agree that we're at the point of a state of emergency, and what should it look like?
It has not gone to the place of a state of emergency, but we're at the brink of it right now. At the brink because the audacity at which these terrorists attack schools, kidnap children, attack communities, and kill people, the brazen audacity is something that is very, very concerning. And if this is not tackled, we are at the brink, we are at the edge of the precipice of gravitating or falling into that particular state of emergency right now. But if our security agencies double up their effort, and particularly if we open up to external collaborations, and I want to choose this word very, very carefully, regional collaborations, external interventions, not domination. Because if you talk about our sovereignty, which is the basis for which a lot of people are criticizing, America's action or America's plan to invade terrorist enclaves in Nigeria, you will see that that sovereignty has been put to test, particularly in the last 1-2 weeks. And what have we done as far as asserting our right as a sovereign state is concerned? Basically nothing. So it's very, very concerning that we are gravitating towards that state of emergency. We may not have entered it, but every life of Nigerians matter. And anytime a life is taken or a life is subjected to trauma as a result of kidnap is something that should bother the government. So it is time, I think, that will open up to that international collaboration to be able to end this security matter. Why? They said a pregnant woman that is at the point of labor does not choose doctors. And number two, she's not ashamed to get naked. We should not be ashamed in the name of protecting our integrity, and integrity that has been stretched and put to test and we have done nothing about it. We should open up to external collaboration to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. If for nothing, okay, the Christians are united against terrorism. Well-meaning Muslims in Nigeria are also united against terrorism. So they say if the oppressed team up together, the oppressor becomes the prey. So we should isolate insecurity, isolate terrorism, and regardless of our religious beliefs and background, unite against it and tackle that monster. We need international help now.
Dave, I'll put you on hold. We'll take a break now, and then when we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us, everyone. Your watch is that point.
The president swing into action, giving marching orders to the military. We've seen service chiefs deploy themselves to those conflict theaters and areas of conflict. Those are signs that Nigerians want to see as far as the seriousness of our military is concerned. And the president must be commended for that. Our service chief also must be commended for that. Our gallant men also must be commended for that. They have stepped up the game, even though at great cost to the lives of our security personnel, but they have stepped up the game. And let them continue this particular pressure on them. And then we will be able to rescue these children all over Nigeria and bring them back home to their parents. It borders to taking up this security pressure to the next level. And let there be coordination too across the ranks of our security outfit. There was a time that there was a beef between the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of Air Staff, and the Chief of Air Staff would not deploy air support against terrorists. It became a beef that was tackled until the Nigerian Army even had a proposal to get their own helicopters or battle helicopters to be able to intervene on time. But as we see now, these new service chiefs, they seem to be working together in harmony. So let there be coordination such that anywhere airstrike is necessary, the Air Force comes in. Anywhere coastline, operations are necessary, the Navy should step in quickly. And anywhere the ground operations are necessary, infantry and other aspects of the Nigerian Army should step in quickly. So we just need to up the game as far as the pressure on terror in Nigeria is concerned. And I am sure that with our current capacity, if sabotage is removed out of the way, we will be able to bring these girls back or bring these children back to their families very, very soon. I'm confident that we have the capacity and we can do it.
I mean, Dave, there's a lot to talk about. There's the issue of the Safe School Initiative, which has got a lot of money, yet, was still seeing kidnappings in school. I wish we could talk about that. But I just wanted, finally to talk about the brief or the public hearing at the U.S. Congress on the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Right now, we have a high-level power delegation in the U.S. led by the NSA. What should be the talking points for you in terms, because you've mentioned collaboration, what should be a talking point as we engage with the U.S.?
You see, these spate of denials by our government and various organs and agents of government, they are actually political positions to take as far as the race to redeem our face and our image is concerned. But beneath the ground, in the sideline meetings, we should actually put our hands bare and request this support. We may not request it openly in the media, but those back-end talks, those sideline meetings so that our delegations are attending, actually, we should request this external collaboration from America. In doing so, the terms and conditions, we will weigh them in. If they border on the sacrifice of our sovereignty, like it was, in the time of Obasanjo, one of the chief of army staff had to resign his position, all because in the fight against terror, the external people who came to collaborate and to help us, they requested that all of our military installations be open for their scrutiny. Those are aspects of sovereignties we cannot trade off. So when there was a face-off, when there was a debacle, an impasse between the president and the chief of army staff, he had to resign honorably, saying that that is never done anywhere. So as long as we can play with the flame, we should welcome the fire of international collaboration. And then the I don't want to express my fears as far as the composition of that delegation is concerned. But one thing I am sure is that anytime Nigeria wants to get a thing done, we can know how to remove the politics away from it and get it done as quickly as possible. So, with the matter of our intervention or our presence in those congressional hearings, ours should be that we can talk tough on the media. But on the sidelines, let's request this international support. The congressional hearing is nothing but the political protocols or procedures that
we have to leave it there, Dave.
Go through. You say?
We have to leave it there because of time. I know that you're making a very critical point.
So it's just the normal protocols they go through to be able to authenticate or approve any intervention. So we should be prepared to go there, but prepared to ask for the intervention.
Thank you so much. You know, it's always a pleasure to have you on and your brilliant analysis, public affairs analyst, Dave Ogbuli.
Thank you very much, Precious.
All right, that's Standpoint this week. Remember, you can watch the repeat broadcast at 11 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. Thanks for watching. I am Precious Amara.